Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. My name's Joshua Poet. The website's firstcontactradio.com. And this information here, this starts us off. This is what's going on in the world today of energy. The energy around us. Today's the 13th. Don't see a lot of stuff around here, but we do see Leo. So our moon sign is Leo. The moon sign deals with the unconscious mind, the subconscious. The sun sign deals with the conscious. So we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind working together, the sun and the moon. The sun, the light that shines during the conscious part of our lives. So right now we're focused on the Aquarian. And when we look at the energy, we think of the energy involved, which is the energy of air. Air is about words and action, so this is a time of words and action. A time of words and action, but words and action with a specific theme. The theme is the Aquarian theme. And as we think back to when Aquarius has been talked about, it's been talked about with this wonderful image of the future. And so that's kind of what it is, futuristic thinking, looking ahead to new opportunities. We have to make sure that, though, within that we don't get caught up in daydreaming and things of that nature, because that really isn't practical. So we want to be able to use the air to find the words and the action to express that which we want, so that we can ultimately manifest that. So that's what our conscious mind is focusing on, okay? So that's what we've been looking at this last month. And our unconscious mind today is in Leo. It's a fire sign. So underneath we got that fire going, and fire is ideas, creativity. And that's bubbling under the surface. And the idea with the lion, Leo, is about righteousness. In the tarot cards, it relates to the card of strength, which is all about righteousness. It's the righteousness of understanding that when we channel the energy through love, everything works out, because love is the strength of the universe. The strength of God is like a lion. That's what I like to think of it. So today we've got ideas bubbling under the surface, and the ways and the desire to express these words and actions out on the conscious mind, and together they're going to work. And there's really nothing in the way. We do have an aspect coming up in about an hour between Leo, the moon sign, and Uranus, which is unexpected things, surprises, changes. So in the next hour, those ideas and things, maybe you might have some new ideas pop in your head, something you hadn't realized or thought about. And the thing with Aquarius that is significantly tied to the meanings that come out of the tarot are the idea of meditation. So meditation is really good to be able to tap into that unconscious mind to find out what those ideas are. What are the new ideas? So, alright. So as we get to our meditation today, we'll kind of look in that direction. We'll think about some of those things. As we can see, tomorrow we have a full moon. So that's something to look forward to. Alright, up in the sky, let's see what we're going to look at tonight. When we look up. Alright, tonight, this is our images for the 13th through the 15th. The wheel of the year is turning, and spring is only a little more than a month away. So by 9 or 10 p.m., depending on your location, you'll find the Big Dipper is already standing on its handle in the northeast, as high as Cassiopeia has descended in the northwest. Okay, so this is when we look east tonight, up into the sky, shortly after dark, it says. You're going to see the moon here, and this is looking east, and when we look at the moon to the left of it, we're going to see Leo. Leo the lion, okay, to the left of the moon. Alright, that's what we'll see. And of course the moon phase, as you saw, is just a sliver away from a full moon. So we'll be there tomorrow on the Mayan Oracle. We're at a second tone day. 13 tones is the length of tones that we travel, or 13 paths along the wave spell. So with 13, again, we're looking at numerology. Number 2 means the same as it does in all the other systems, because it's all the same. Number 2 is about challenge. It's what happens when the number 1, that single idea, pulls itself into 2. And now those things that just pulled apart in 2 have to find a way to be balanced with each other. And that's the first lesson, to find that balance. Just imagine if you pulled apart from yourself, you'd want to make sure that you were stabilized, and that would be your first challenge. And then once that is done, those 2 things that just pulled apart now have the ability to interact to be able to create a third thing. And that is where we move to the number 3 tomorrow. And so that's how numbers progress. Okay, so today we're at a 2, a challenge. The energy's just pulled apart. We've gone from that 1, we've unified our energy here with the serpent, which is the theme of this wave spell. And now we're going to the world bridger, the challenge, to understanding the life and death of that energy, that they're both one and the same. Okay, the mirror is our guide for today, which reflects back to life what is going on. And then the Skywalker, exploration, that's our like-minded energy. Our challenge is to be able to use our mind to ask good questions when situations come up, not to just get caught up and get pushed over the edge. And then vision is our hidden power, always keeping in mind the vision that we have, what it is we're trying to do, where we're going. The phrase for today is I polarize in order to equalize, stabilizing opportunity. I seal the store of death with the lunar tone of challenge. I am guided by the power of endlessness. And today is a galactic activation portal day, which means that the energies at a certain point are both intensified, because here we have 6 columns over and 6 rows down. So there we have a synchronicity. And that's why it's called the Galactic Activation Portal Day. Now, something significant about this day, where we are here. Normally these Galactic Activation Portal Days happen 1 at a time. Okay, you don't really have many that are in a row, except when you get to the start of where we are today, in which case you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have a whole bunch in a row, okay? So today's the first of many. And then at the end of this column here, we're going to go into this middle pillar, which is the center of this whole Zolkin calendar. So this time that we're in is kind of a high energy time, where we're going to hit a lot of high energy days, 10 in a row, and then we're going to get a calm, and then we're going to go into the center. So just something just to be aware of where we are in the system, and 10 intense days in a row. Something to just be aware of as you're out there traveling in the world of energy. Alright, solar wind today, it's a little slower than yesterday. It's 367.3 kilometers per second. The planetary K index is dropped down. It's between a 1 and a 2. We see our corona hole is still down here to some degree, and this one here is really expanding. That's pretty good size. Pretty good size indeed. Still got one going on over here. M-class flare possibility is now up to 60%. X-class is up to 10. So we'll find out more. But our geomagnetic storm activity has dropped. So things will be changing certainly as we feel the effects of this solar wind coming off these coronal holes, and as the flares, that says here increasing chance of flares. Sunspot AR 1974 is growing rapidly and possesses an increasing chance of Earth-directed flares. Okay. And then numerology for today is the number 4. So how did we arrive at the number 4? Well, this is how. This is how we've arrived at the number 4. Okay, we've got 2, February. The day, 13, is 1 and 3. So 2 plus 1 plus 3, so that's 6. And then we know the year is 7. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. So we got 6 plus 7, that's 13. And the 1 plus this 3 equals to 4. So I like to look at two numbers. Remember, if the numbers fit within the 22 numbers of the major arcana, then I like to look and see what they're about. So we do have 1, 13. So 13 is the card that represents, well, we know what 13 is. So it's the number that is the cosmic number. It's the number that all the secrets of the universe are hidden behind it. It has a lot of important significance in tarot card. It would be the card of death, which means there's a transition. So that's one of the things inherent with today. Today's about transition and change. Okay? 13 means unity and love. So it's not anything to be worried or scared about, because love is part of the process of this change that's going by. So the more that we open to this energy, the more we understand what is taking place. And then the 13, the 1 and 3 becomes a 4. And there you have order. So today is a day of order. Okay? The tarot card number 4 would be the Emperor. The Hebrew word He means he who sets in order. It's about the conscious mind putting things in order. And that's what today is about. So numerologically, we have a day of order. We have that in conjunction with an Aquarius sun, which is telling us, one, to go inside with the meditation. It is also telling us to be able to go inside so we can connect with the ideas that we have for our visions of the future. We've just about arrived at the full moon. We'll be there by tomorrow. And we're on a wave spell that we're learning and understanding the energy that we have within us, how we use it on the wave spell of the serpent. And today we're particularly learning the lesson of what happens to energy after it pulls apart and has to rebalance itself, how it goes through that challenging phase. Not to mention that we're at the beginning of a cycle of 10 days of these galactic activation portals. So those are the energies. That's what we're dealing with. Sometimes just being aware of what's going on. It's a lot to process, but as you just consider the ideas and consider the meanings and the symbols and just look at them, it'll all make good sense to you. Okay, it's not just mumbo jumbo talk. It's all real. It all has purpose, and the meanings behind this are understood the more you just try to understand the meanings. All right, that's it. UFO News is up next. Stay tuned.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Thank you very much, Dirk. UFO News. First story, fascinating UFO sighting over the United States and the United Kingdom. Alright, this is a long video. This is one of these weekly reports that comes to us here from Darren Crapo. Alright, so I wanted to make this available because he does some good work, puts some nice compilations. We've seen a number of these, but it's always good to have the reviews and look over and just kind of confirm what others are seeing as well. Okay? And these are, he's got sightings in here from Long Beach, California, USA, Miami, Florida, Kansas City. Okay? Now, let's move on from there to the next piece. This is El Paso, Texas on the 8th. El Paso, Texas on the 8th. A new video of bright, unidentified flying objects flying over El Paso in Texas. The footage was taken on Saturday the 8th. There we have it. 3 minutes and 41 seconds is the length of this particular video. Okay. There we go. Now this one's become 2. And look at that. 2's become 3. Okay, very interesting. Something's going on in the skies. Are those military, or are those from other worldly creatures, beings? A Louisiana witness slowed his vehicle down for a better look after a silent triangle-shaped UFO hovering just over the trees while driving along I-20 between Monroe and Ruston, according to the February 12th MUFON testimony. I believe we've already gone over this one. This is the one that came over the trees. He observed the bright white at 11 o'clock just above the horizon. I do not recall the elevation, but it was quite low. I agreed with my friend's comment about the clarity of the evening and went on to note how bright Venus was. His friend disagreed, but soon they noticed that the bright object appeared to be moving. Eventually, we both observed that the light was not staying at relatively close position, as a distant object would appear to do. In other words, as the highway curved, the object was observed to change position relative to our point of view. Very soon, we knew that the object was very much closer than a star or planet, and that we would pass it. They soon approached the object and slowed down, but did not stop. I observed a large object of a triangular shape hovering just above the trees. The object appeared dark, although I cannot say for certainty that it was black. I can only guess it was around 50 feet across. It could have been far larger. I doubt it was far smaller. It had a massive white light in this lower center. That light reminded me of a xenon light. I did not discern any blue tint to that light. Okay. Now we're going to jump over there. This is an Australian witness. In the early hours of Sunday morning, Michael Murphy said he saw something in the sky that altered the way he thinks. The orange dish-shaped object hovered in the sky somewhere near Ottawa Dam, and Michael said he was mesmerized. I thought I was watching a science fiction movie, to be honest, said Michael, who at first thought he was losing his mind. He has no explanation for what he saw, only that it was not a plane or anything he has ever seen before. The unidentified flying object hovered in the sky in front of Michael for approximately 2 minutes. There was an luminous mist below the object that Michael said he could only compare to glitter. Michael had been watching a poker tournament on television, which finished at 1:30 a.m. He then turned off the TV after a few minutes of channel surfing. That's when I saw it, he said. Michael was held captive by the visual experience until the object disappeared behind the tree line. He then tried to wake his partner Marianne, but she was too sleepy. If I had my time again, I would have dragged her out of bed, said Michael, who then jumped in his Ute and his Moondock home and drove to near Bushby, Cutting Lookout. He didn't see the object again, and so he drove home and rang 000 Tari police, rang him back within a few minutes, and Michael gave his statement to the police. I was buzzing, said Michael, who also confirmed that he had not been drinking and was not taking any drugs. Conversation with the police in the middle of the night roused Marianne, and this time Michael was able to get her to put on her dressing gown and go with him, again driving to the lookout. They arrived to discover other people there. 4 local men with 2 four-wheeled drives were looking into the sky, and when questioned by Michael why they were there, they said they had seen something. They described to Michael a massive orange light seen from a Purfleet which had gone down behind the trees. See, I'm not crazy, Michael told Marianne, who until this point had been skeptical of the story. There's nothing wrong with my eyesight at 61 and nothing wrong with these young guys either. Okay, so there you go, that one. And here we go over Mexico. Atizapán, Mexico. This was the 10th. This was a triangle. Triangular UFO crosses the sky on the 10th at 20:26 hours. The video is filmed with YUK on Ranger Night Vision system while doing the surveillance. While recording, the object suddenly passed over the camera. The video was recorded in the town Atizapán of Zaragoza, Edo of Mexico. This recording is excellent because we have not seen a single UFO of these conditions so far. It was clearly a triangular UFO. There we go. It's a 3-minute and 11-second video. See it right there? Pretty good. It's almost like a ghost looking one. Usually we see the dark ones, but this one's definitely light colored. Okay. Very interesting indeed. Okay, and let's move on to the next one here. This is a bold prediction. Scientists going out on his limb saying we could find alien life by 2040. Whoa, it's jumping way out on that limb. Palo Alto, California, the first detection of intelligent extraterrestrial life will likely come within the next quarter century, a prominent alien hunter predicts. By 2040 or so, astronomers will have scanned enough star systems to give themselves a great shot of discovering alien-produced electromagnetic signals, says Shostak of SETI Institute in Mountain View, California. I think we'll find ET within 24 years using these sorts of experiments, Shostak said Thursday during a talk at the 2014 NASA Innovative Advanced Concept Symposium at Stanford University. Instead of looking at a few thousand star systems, which is the tally so far, we will have looked at 1 million star systems. 24 years from now, Shostak said 1 million might be the right number to find something. His optimism is based partly on the observation by NASA's Planet Hunting Kepler Space Telescope, which has shown that the Milky Way galaxy likely teems with worlds capable of supporting life as we know it. The bottom line is, like the 1 in the 5 stars has at least one planet where life might spring up. Shostak says that's a fantastically large percentage. That means in our galaxy there's on the order of tens of millions of Earth-like worlds. Shostak and his colleagues at least think some of these worlds host intelligent aliens, beings that have developed the capability to send electromagnetic signals out into the cosmos, as human civilization does every second, every day. So they're pointing their big radio dishes toward the heaven, hoping to detect something produced by living beings. Alright, so there you go. You know, why don't they just point these towards the ships that are up above the earth? Maybe there might be a little bit closer communication. That, I don't know if they're already trying that, but why don't you try pointing it up at the ships that we keep seeing? Instead of shooting out to space, focus your radio there. Try that. Maybe since they're closer and since we already are seeing them, we already are one step ahead of the game to understand that they exist out there. Maybe, maybe that's why we're not finding them when we're looking out there, because they're not there. Maybe they're here. So we're calling back to their homes. Nobody's there. Just an idea. Okay, here's an article called Characteristics of ET Races. These are many different characteristics. Nice little chart here. We have amphibians, semi-intelligent creatures known to attack people without provocation. Anakim, these are giants, also referred to as Els, Anakim short for elder race, referred to in ancient Hebrew tradition. The race is allegedly tied with the ancient humans who broke off from mainstream humanity because of their vast size, which had developed over the centuries, possibly as a result of a genetic anomaly. The Andromedans, being from Andromeda, are friendly aliens. The oldest race in our galaxy, are very concerned about our future. Arcturus, or Arcturians, located in the constellation Bootes. It's one of the oldest constellations. It is a red giant sun, supposedly one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. They are said to have 3 bases on the moon and several on Earth. Alright. The Ariani, they're inner Earth people. They now live in the underworld, underground in Tibet, which they call the Argata. Note the similarity to the word Aryan. Their space fleet is called the Silver Fleet. They lived on the planet Meldek, now the asteroid belt. They were the lost tribe of Lyrae. We have the Atlanteans, or also Lemurians. The Beltrax, another name is the Greys. Blues. The Blues are said to have translucent skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and a small stature. The main issue of their teaching was pursue your passion, follow your own way, do your own thing. Don't be pressured into being anything but what and who you are. Deros and Teros, these aliens are rumored to live underground. The Teros are more friendly race of the two, whilst the Deros are demented and lack power. Greys, we know about them. The Greys are the most commonly described race by abduction victims. They seem to be abducting, studying, testing, and using various individuals for reasons which are at present unclear. They are considered to be hostile. One group of Greys comes from a planet orbiting Zeta 2 Reticuli, probably its fourth planet. And we have Bellatrix Greys. These Greys originate from a star system called Bellatrix near the constellation of Orion. Then we have the Orion Greys. These are much taller than both the Zetas and the Bellatrix, standing at 6 to 8 feet. The Orions are less aggressive to humans, but they are hostile. They are hairless and very small nose and no discernible ears. Earth Greys. Some sources indicate the Greys may be Cetacean-based life form on Earth that compromises the species of whales and dolphins. The Marians, also known as Atlanteans, Movians, Lyrians, from the star of the Nordic type aliens. All Nordic types have originated there, may have originated there. The Moon Nose aliens, a race of peaceable human, some 7 to 8 feet tall. The Nordics, many abductees have described meeting European-looking aliens around 1.7 meters tall with long blonde hair. They often are referred to as Venusians. Lyra's Nordics is the original star system of the Nordic type aliens. We got the Sirius Nordics. Sirius is the brightest star out in the sky and can be found in the Canis Major constellation. Orion Nordics originate from Lyra too, probably. They have red hair. Pleiades Nordics are collective extraterrestrials from the star system Pleiades, also called the Seven Sisters. The Pleiadian culture is ancient and was seeded from another universe long before Earth was created. They have formed a tremendous society which operates with love, ideas, and ideals that are yet unfamiliar with, that we are unfamiliar with. Epsilon and Uridani and the Taugenian star systems are inhabited by Nordic types. Taigentians are aliens from the star system Taigeta and the Pleiades. Orion's constellation 1400 light years away. Reptilians, we've heard about them. Reptilians or reptoids are said to have several underground bases on Earth. They seem to be unfriendly. Various bizarre reports can be found that these entities should be taken with a pinch of salt. For example, it is said that the Shoemaker-Levy 9 comet that impacted Jupiter was actually a reptoid invasion fleet that was thrown off course by friendly alien race to save Earth. So we have the Draconian Mothmen, winged reptilians, three-fingered reptiles. Syrians is a star in the Canis Major. Umites are humanoids from the planet Umo, claiming to hail from the general area of Wolf 424, some 14 plus light years distant from the Earth Sol system. Vegans, Nordics from the Vega system. Zetans, and we got the humans, we know about them. One of the main ET projects, now in the completion stage, is the hybrid program. Okay, and various different types of hybrids and so on. So, lots of different types of aliens. There's a good list for you right there. So, you can go through and get more specific. I just gave you the highlights on each one because there's a lot of information there. All right, let's move on. I got more news. I'm going to jump away just for a few moments, and I'll be back. Promise.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Okay, I'm ready to continue. So we don't always hear what's going on in the world from the mainstream news. That's what makes the internet so good, because we can go out there and we can look and we can find information that's not normally being talked about. And I know what people say, oh, the internet, there's nothing good on the internet. Really? People that are saying that usually aren't people that are going on the internet, which is why they're saying that. Usually if they're saying that, it's because they were told to think that way from the mainstream news channels, who don't want you to go on the internet, because if you go on the internet, you'll probably find out that what they told you was inaccurate, because you'll find the truth. So the internet is not really where people are challenged or encouraged to go looking for information. It needs to be controlled. And so we look at information that's out there in the world, and most people go about just paying attention to only what the newspaper says, only what their local stations say, only what's on the main news. And if they don't hear it elsewhere, they don't bother to look, or they don't think it exists. And if somebody brings it up, people who are only watching the mainstream news think people are crazy. That couldn't possibly be. Because if that was real, Rachel Maddow would be telling me that. If this was really going on, I'd hear this from Bill O'Reilly. You know, a lot of silly comments. People think that the media is really working in the interest of the people. All it takes is a study of history and a study of the media and the techniques that have been used to understand that our media has long since been here to benefit the people, that the media is used as a propaganda arm for the political and the financial interests of this country and of the world. That's just the way it is. And as soon as you understand that, it makes things much easier, because then it's not hidden. It's no surprises why they do things. It's like someone asked me the other day, they were so surprised to hear that Obama is signing these executive orders to have more sympathy for Muslims and terrorists and all this other stuff he's doing. They were so surprised. It's like, well, if you really knew about Obama's background and you understood that, one, he's listed himself as a Muslim when he was in Indonesia, that he has another name, and that there's others around the world who say he's a Muslim terrorist, suddenly the surprise is gone, and it makes perfect sense when you hear what he's doing. It's no surprise. So the more that we inform ourselves about what's going on and just aware of it, the less we're going to be surprised. So anyway, after that little preamble there, this weekend there was a protest that took place. And here's a bunch of photos from it, because there was a lot of people at this protest. It wasn't just a small group. 15 photos from the massive progressive protest you didn't hear about this weekend. Somewhere between 80 to 100,000 people from 32 states turned out to protest 4 years of drastic state Republican initiatives in Raleigh, North Carolina on Saturday. The Moral March on Raleigh, organized by historic thousands on Jones Street in North Carolina, NAACP marched from Shaw University to the state capitol to push back against the immoral and unconstitutional policies of Republican Governor Pat McCrory during the 2013 North Carolina General Assembly session. Since North Carolina Republicans took both legislative chambers in 2010, legislators have eliminated a host of programs and raised taxes on the bottom 80%, repealed the tax credit for 900,000 working families, enforced voter suppression efforts, blocked Medicaid coverage, cut pre-kindergarten funding, cut federal unemployment benefits, and gave itself the authority to intervene in abortion lawsuits. Activists had gathered at weekly protests called Moral Mondays in North Carolina since 2013 as a way to give voice to individuals whose rights were under attack by Republican-controlled legislature. Well, there were no reports arrests on Saturday's protest. Hundreds of nonviolent protesters were arrested during last year's Moral Monday events. So here's a bunch of pictures. Good Americans out there just protesting. Okay, so now I don't want you to think that I'm getting into a political discussion here, because again, this is a battle back and forth between one side and the other, Republican, Democrat. It's not about that. It's about the fact that there's people out there protesting, and yet it's not getting heard in the news. You didn't hear about this until probably right now. So that's the point, that even when things are going on, and sometimes when the mainstream news ignores a story, sometimes that's the sign that that story does have some importance for some reason, which is why they're ignoring it. Okay? You ignore it so it doesn't really get out into the public, like 9/11. They ignored the story. Just ignored it. Didn't want to talk about it, and when it came up, they lied about it. And here we are today. Or like the other stories that come up, they ignore it. And if you bring it up, bad, bad. Okay, here we have a rare phenomenon to shake planet Earth. Is the end of the world as we know it and the return of Jesus Christ really knocking on our door? A rare solar and lunar eclipses, a rare cycle of solar and lunar eclipses that begin this year at the time of God's holy days cited in the Bible, is about to wake up millions to the possibility that end-time prophecies could be fulfilled imminently. All of these signs coming together at one time are potentially the culminating signs that God is closing this chapter of human history, declares Pastor Mark Biltz, author of the brand new book and DVD Blood Moons, Decoding the Imminent Heavenly Signs. This could be the final curtain before the great tribulation mentioned in the Bible. God has always wanted to warn his people and the rest of the world before he intervenes. What better way to communicate to us than through his universal language of heavenly signs that speak to us every tribe, tongue, and nation? In the Old Testament, the prophet Joel states the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord. In the New Testament, Jesus is quoted as saying, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. And then shall appear the sign to the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and glory. As WND reported, Biltz, who promotes the Old Testament roots of Christianity at El Shaddai Ministries in Bonnie Lake, Washington, began focusing in recent years on the precise times of both solar and lunar eclipses. While lunar eclipses, often called blood moons, since the moon sometimes takes on a bloody color. He logged onto NASA's Eclipse website, which provides precise tracking of the celestial events. Biltz noted a rare phenomena of 4 consecutive total lunar eclipses known as a tetrad, and saw that 2014 and 2015 would play a key role. One morning as I was praying, a thought popped into my head. Why don't I compare the dates of the eclipses on the new NASA website to the dates of the biblical calendar? When I did, I was shocked to find that all 4 eclipses over both years fell on the biblical holidays of Passover and the Feast of Tabernacles. I just about jumped out of my skin. Immediately, I ran to my computer and pulled up NASA's website to look up other times when there have been 4 consecutive blood moons, which are total lunar eclipses where the moon appears blood red. NASA calls 4 total blood moons in a row a tetrad, and they list their occurrences. I noticed that there weren't any in the 1600s, 1700s, or even 1800s. The last time there was a tetrad was back in the 1900s, and to my amazement, they also fell on the Feast of Passover and Tabernacles. When I noticed the years these phenomena occurred, my mind began reeling. The last 2 times there were 4 blood moons in a row. They happened first right after Israel became a nation in 1948, and then again when Israel retook Jerusalem in 1967. I started doing a hallelujah dance. It was as if I just found treasure buried in the sand. My heart was racing 100 miles an hour as all those key scriptures about the signs in the heaven, God's feast days, and the timing of the biblical calendar flooded my mind. The find led Biltz on an incredible journey of discovery as he began linking the feast days in the Bible with the signs in heaven. God said in Genesis 1:14 that he created the sun and the moon and the stars for the signals on his feast day, said Biltz. Now I have the key to unlocking the code. Okay, you can see there's a lot more to this article here. Here's the dates. Passover, April 15th. Feast of Tabernacles on October 8th. Blood moons on those, and then again on those 2 dates in 2015. Okay, so something is going on in the skies for us to pay attention to, and we will certainly all see it because we all are able to look up and see the sun and the moon. All right, let's jump over and look at a little bit about esoteric science here today. It's from a website. We looked at it last week. We're going to look at another section of it. It's edgeba.webs.com. This is a section called The Wisdom of the Ages. Small summary by Jeffrey Hodson. Man is essentially a spiritual being, his mind and his body being only temporary means of self-expression and self-unfoldment. When this true self is discovered and becomes a directing power, there is permanent peace for the individual, for the race. Without that discovery, peace is impossible. The search for and discovery of the self is therefore of supreme importance. The evolution of the spiritual self to perfection through successive lives on earth is the true purpose of human existence. Man's experiences are decided by the operation of the law of cause and effect. Cruelty brings war to nature and pain and disease to individuals. There is no possible escape from this sequence. Inversely, kindness brings happiness and health. Until this law is recognized and accepted as the rule of life, there will continue to be both war and disease. The spirit within all men is one spirit. Each man belongs to one spiritual race, which is without any divisions of any kind. Experience of this unity and its application to human life constitute the only possible means whereby lasting peace can be established on earth and assured health and happiness being attained by every human being. Such in part are the teachings of the wisdom of the ages concerning man. And here's Agni teaching gives us the following. The teaching gives perfection as its goal, otherwise it would be bereft of a future. The teaching overlooks personal comfort, otherwise it would be egoism. The teaching provisions the beautifying of existence, otherwise it would be submerged in ugliness. The teaching is always self-denying, because it knows what is the common good. The teaching reveres knowledge, otherwise it would be darkness. The manifestation of the teaching in life proceeds not through invented ceremonies, but on the basis of experience. One of the most difficult conditions of the teaching will be the ability to speak proportionately, to put on chains, but to awaken, striving into indicate a direction that will be the task of the teacher. The complete teaching must not be and cannot be expounded. Verily, no teacher left the code of the teaching. Such a completeness would contradict infinity and would presuppose the complete limitation of the followers. We can indicate the direction, we can call to fly, we can affirm labor, we can indicate the light, but the ways and the means should not cause slavery. The expanded consciousness will point out where karma should remain untouched. The inviolability of karma is the care of everyone who transmit the foundations of teaching. To burden with an excessive load is unforgivable. To overlook possibilities, unworthy. Each era chooses its corresponding teaching, yet each phase of the teaching does not exclude the preceding one. But it is easy to prove the continuity of that which people call religion. In this incessancy is sensed the one stream of the very energy. About the origin of the teachings we can gather from the following facts from those who have walked before us. The origin of this philosophy, these thoughts, teachings, or whatever they may be called, cannot be fathomed by the ordinary human mind, and fades away from the mist of time. These principles date back to far beyond recorded historical times, back firstly to forgotten Lemuria, and subsequently to ancient Atlantis. The actual past existence of these continents and civilizations is today still queried by many historians and scientists. The ancient or ageless wisdoms as such must definitely not be considered as religion, although many of the basic principles have in the past and will again in the future be incorporated into various religious precepts. It is merely a study or philosophy by means of which is endeavored to understand and set out logically the existing relationship between man and the rest of the universe, of which he forms such an infinitesimal but nonetheless intimate part. It is in the urge to arrive at a better understanding of man's own nature and basic constitution, of how physical man is related to the spiritual aspect of life, of the role he has played in the past, and is destined to play in the future with the realization of the divine plan. Okay? So, as you can see, there's a lot of great information here on the wisdom of the ages. The wisdom of the ages, it's out there. It's available. You just find yourself a good spiritual bookstore, go online, and just search that phrase, the wisdom of the ages. And you'll start pulling up information. It will lead you on a path. And once you get on that path, you'll discover all sorts of places and bits of information that you want to learn about, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, there you go. A little bit more about esoteric science. This is from a site called GnosticWarrior.com. The secret to life is to love. It's that simple. The secret to life is to love and to live life through our loving hearts. Love is the key to happiness and everlasting life. It took me almost 4 decades of living a dark life to understand the immortal law of light, Mo. There is love. When there is love, there is life, Mahatma Gandhi. I've decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear, Martin Luther King Jr. Love is a better teacher than duty, Albert Einstein. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. At the touch of love, everything becomes a poet, Plato. A loving heart is the truest wisdom, Charles Dickens. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love another, Jesus Christ. So that's a nice little site there, some nice little phrases, and you can certainly go through much of the historical record and find information that is very much along those lines. Love has been a topic that's been talked about. It seems so simple, and many discuss or dismiss the idea because they say it seems so simple. But when you break it down to energy, it makes all the sense in the world. Love is simply an energy. It's the name that we describe to a particular energy that we all experience. And when we utilize this energy, we can do a great deal. This energy comes from the heart chakra right here. When we see movies and we see characters that they sometimes send things out from this area, right? It's accentuated. That's a very important thing. The Iron Man has the thing right there in the chamber, So we want to understand that we have this center of energy that we just send out into the world, and that changes. And that's why it has been talked about throughout the beginning of time, love. And when we understand it, when we're not afraid of it, we'll really be able to experience something much different about it, because we'll use it differently. Use it much differently. All right, here's called the Dragon Sun Grounding Meditation. Future medicine will be based on controlling energy in the body. Professor William Tiller, Stanford University. Grounding is a simple process that any serious person or light worker will want to learn to practice daily in order to feel their best. Individuals who are sensitive to others frequently pick up negative energy and thus have to process it unknowingly. In other words, we are like sponges picking up others' stuff. This leads to many problems that can be alleviated with the simple act of grounding and sealing our auras daily. The harder one tries, the harder it gets. Keep it simple, like kindergarten, and follow the video below. If you practice this regularly, it will become a habit that serves you on many levels. As we get conscious that we are creating our own reality, we will want to use energy tools more and more. The beautiful thing about energy tools is that there have never been known any negative side effects. We are blessed with master creators like Amora Kuan Yin, who left us many breadcrumbs to follow in order to use energy tools to feel our best. Amora states, the Pleiadian approach to spirituality involves full-body cellular enlightenment and or ascension. In other words, the goal is to transcend your belief in and fear of limitations of your physical plane. The spiritual goal requires us to stay in our bodies and is why she guides us to ground ourselves daily. More about this can be found in her masterpieces, the Pleiadian Workbook. Okay, we got a video here. Video itself is 10 minutes long. Check that out. Has some nice grounding meditations in there. But you get the idea, right? You get the idea. We go through life. We deal with energy every day. We want to be able to ground our energy, because when you think about energy, it's like an electrical circuit. We have to have a grounding source. And grounding is sometimes as simple as that. How do you ground yourself? Touch the ground. Pick up a rock. Something that is of the earth, not something that is necessarily a man-made object, but something that's of the earth. Ground yourself with a piece of the ground, and that will help you to balance your energy, because that's what the earth does. That's what it's been doing for millions of years. Okay? All right, here's a message. This is the High Council of Orion.
Play with your emotions. Channeled Ascension message from the High Council of Orion.
February 7, 2014. Channeled by Holly Hawkins Marwood. Transcribed by Paul Marwood, the Council.
Greetings, dear ones. We are the High Council of Orion. There's much talk on your planet at this time about emotions, emotional resonance, and how your emotions can help or hinder you in where it is that you wish to go. We want to discuss this today from an energetic point of view. As you know, and many of you are directly experiencing this time, there is a wide range of emotions that humans get to experience at this time on the planet. The full spectrum of emotions are being experienced at this time on the planet. One end of that spectrum would include emotions such as anger, depression, sadness, what you would call are the negative emotions. On the other end of the spectrum you have joy, love, happiness, trust, gratitude, what you would call the positive end of the emotions. From an energetic point of view, the reason so many are talking about living in the positive end of the spectrum first and foremost is because it feels better. Right? But beyond that, from an energetic point of view, as you move into those more positive emotions, your energy field begins expanding outward. As you move more into the negative emotions, the energy moves inward and becomes more constricted and more confined, we would say. When you look at the emotions as a spectrum, it's like a track that you can move freely back and forth on, at will. Many of you are beginning to feel like the movement along the spectrum is quite rapid, from positive to negative, negative to positive, almost without any kind of reason for it at this moment in time. Emotions are, in a sense, all over the place on your planet at this time. They're very volatile. They're very fragile in their constancy. It's very energetically difficult to hang on to the more positive places at the moment. At the same time, if one's in the more negative emotions, that end of the spectrum, it can be just as hard to hold on to that too, for there's just this great movement in the emotional spectrum at this moment in time. Looking at this from an energetic point of view, if you are one who's looking to the light, looking for expansion, looking for a more positive experience of your life as a human being through your ability to positively interact, live joyfully, happy, live in love, see the good things, we want you to understand what you're really doing is enjoying the expansion of the energy into a more unified field with all that's around you, which is your destiny. Which is where each and every one of you are moving. Those emotions are moving you into your future reality as you begin to experience the more positive emotions within the spectrum, because it provides the expansion that your soul is seeking this time. So, we're going to suggest if there are times when you are on the more compressed end of the emotional spectrum, which would go from feeling neutral to feeling slightly sad to feeling very depressed, angry, upset and dark, if you just envision your energy, you could be in that place of your emotions. Feel without trying to change your emotions. You can just breathe into the space of your heart and allow, feel, and lovingly accept exactly where the emotions are, but feel your energy expanding out. With no judgment about the name of the emotion that you say you are experiencing at the time. Just feel your energy expanding out further and further beyond your body, without force, without needing to push it, without expectation, but just lovingly breathe into the space of your heart. Grounded to the planet. Expanded to the universe. Just see your energy expanding outward, breathing into it. Creating that energetic space expands your field of energy and allows you to connect with the more expansive emotions, which we would also say are more positive. Giving an example, if you are feeling very angry, perhaps you're not even sure what you're feeling angry about, you're just feeling angry. First acknowledge that you're feeling that way. Take that moment, that time out for yourself, to sit quietly with yourself and just be in the place of anger without judgment. Then tune into the space of your heart, allowing your energies to connect with the planet, connect with the universe, and slowly breathe into the space of your heart. Just feel your energies expanding outward. No judgment. No thought about the emotion that you would give a name to, such as anger. Just be in that space and allow the energetic field of who you are to expand out further and further and further. Stay with it until you feel like you can't allow the energies to move out anymore. They've gone to the space, the furthest reaches of the space, they can go, whatever that is. Whether that's 6 or 12 or 18 inches out beyond your body or whether you've been able to expand it out into infinitude, it matters not. Then just sit in this expanded field of energy for as long as you have time to do. When you're ready, then come back to the place of your heart in that moment in time, opening your eyes and experiencing how you are feeling in that moment, experiencing a shift in how you are feeling in terms of the name that you would give the emotion. Understanding that, in that moment in time, you may not have slid all the way down to the farthest positive end of the emotional spectrum to joy and elation, but perhaps you felt even neutrality or even the tiniest bit of hope or a release from the anger that you were experiencing. Perhaps a new point of view or a new insight has come in. In that moment you can shift your energies around your emotions by shifting the energies, instead of always looking at the name that you've given the emotion. For the emotions are a result of your energetic vibration. So, without judging and needing to name the emotion, you can work within your energetic field to help shift you to bring you to a more positive experience of your emotions by working with your energetic field. Play with this, dear ones, and see what can happen. Be blessed. We are the High Council of Orion.
Alright, good message for today. Again, all about processing energy. Alright, let's do our meditation. I'm going to incorporate into our meditations on a regular basis not only the affirmations like I've been doing every day, but I'm going to include the agape. They do a once a week meditation. So close your eyes, take a deep breath. Exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. And think to yourself the words, I love and respect myself at all times. I love and respect myself at all times. And just contemplate those words, an understanding of love for yourself. And allow your mind to just contemplate further these words. The power, presence, and love of God live in the midst of me. I am fully connected to the vast and abundant nature of the universe. My body is the temple of the living God, whole, complete, and perfect. Divine insight frees me from fear and doubt and worry. Self-love and acceptance is the starting point in all my relationships. Gratefully and gracefully I live these words of truth, and so it is. And see yourself walking along the path, in this place of love and happiness, feeling good about who you are. And as you walk along and you pay attention to the world, you see that there are others moving along who are not very happy, because they are not in the same energetic space. And just imagine silently You send them energy. You just send them love and some positivity, along with the thought that they experience the expanded view of what life has to offer. And without knowing why, they feel this energy sent their way. They feel this love, and they begin to change. And they begin to experience more around them. And you see the look on their face, as if you were watching someone discover something for the first time. And as you continue to move through the world, you continue to share this energy you have and continue to inspire others. And as you inspire others, they in turn inspire others. And this cycle of inspiration goes on and on. Imagine yourself looking at life and seeing clearly all of the different energetics that make up life. You see the spirits, the fire, the water, the air, and the earth. And as you look at the fire, you see the fire as ideas. As you look at the water, you see it as love. As you look at the air, you see them as words. And as you look at the earth, you see the form. And you realize that spirit gets an idea, adds love to the idea, speaks those words of love into existence to create the form that it wishes to create. And this process of creation happens over and over and over. And so we just allow ourselves to be able to bring forth our ideas, because we release anything holding back our creativity. We imagine ourselves letting go of anything that holds us back, that we might express truly our creative ideas and bring into manifestation the hopes and dreams. Let's imagine the world, the planet Earth, with the word love all around it. Let's imagine this love being absorbed into the earth, and the love wiping out all of the doubt and the fear in people's minds today. Let's imagine this love going out there and changing the hearts and the minds of those leaders around the planet, that they realize the error of their ways and they make amends to fix the problems that they created. And let's just see a planet glowing with love, a love which just extends inside and outside of the planet and just glows so bright that it is seen throughout the cosmos. So let's just imagine planet Earth as a planet of love, and just keep that in our mind's eye as we continue along the path today, unconsciously and consciously. So let our unconscious mind continue on that journey of love, that thought of love for the planet, and let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. Alright, my friends, that is it for today. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great day. Just keep sending out good vibes into the world. I think that's the most important thing we can do each and every day. Encourage each other to do it. Remind each other to do it. And encourage others. We'll change the world. we can do so. Remember, there's been good guys that have been stopping bad things from happening for a long, long time. So all we got to do is just keep increasing the numbers of good. And we've already got the numbers. In America, 300 million Americans versus the small minority of a couple million that's running things. See how easily it is? Just send out love. They got no choice. That's it. I'm going to stop rambling now and get on with the day. Enjoy yourself. Have an awesome day. Much love and light to each and every one of you. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.